Hello everyone, and welcome back to my second spooky, scary Saturdays. Here you are listening to Kristen from krisdoesbeauty, also known in the pinup community as Bonnie the Lovely, and this weekend's horror movie is the original classic Carrie. The original movie version, adaptation of the 1974, I believe, Stephen King book, the original Carrie movie was released November 3rd, 1976 on a very, of course, low budget. It was horror and very old horror as well, being in the 70s. And the box office stopped at $33.8 million. It is, some consider it the best adaptation of really any of Stephen King's novels from the 70s, and this one was the 1974 version, as also goes by the same name, Carrie. Several publications have referred to it as the greatest horror film of all time. The film's notorious prom scene has had major influence on pulp culture and has been discussed and analyzed numerous times, as well as readapted. It also was 8th in 2004's Bravo's The 100 Scary Moments in Cinematic History. That's one of those countdowns and documentaries that always shows up on Halloween night that my family and I always love to watch, all of the top scary moments. And this one was, as I said, 8th in 2004 when that was released. This is now the time in our segment where I remind everyone that this is definitely a not spoil-free review. There are spoilers all over it, so please, if you have not watched the original Carrie, exit off. If not, you have been warned that I'm about to spoil the whole movie and what happens, even though we all know the story. So, story goes down. You have classic, shy, victim, nerdy-esque kind of weirdo girl in the corner doing her own thing. And she gets these abilities through the opening when we go into the shower scene, the notorious Carrie shower scene, which, let me tell you already, as I expressed in my last video, terrified of bathrooms. Completely, they freak me out. Not only that, showers. It's mainly showers. Showers skeeve me out. It's probably because of movies like this, Psycho, It. The list goes on of just shower scenes where you kind of come to your your impending death is coming at you. So me and showers, not friends. And of course, Carrie's there, and it's this whole segment. Everyone's lovely and beautiful and naked, of course, because this is the 70s, bush everywhere. And you see Carrie there under the shower, washing. Oh, so nice. She's getting clean. And then the blood comes. And of course, she doesn't know what's going on, being the sheltered, from a very, very religious upbringing, the very sheltered, naive schoolgirl. She doesn't know what's going on. She thinks she's dying, freaking out, all of this. The class then, starts throwing tampons at her, yelling, "Plug it up." Everyone ridicules her. Even the gym teacher doesn't really know what to do with her. And that is just the beginning of it all. With her getting her period comes the symbolism of, just literally, womanhood is upon her, which also means she, through puberty, is going to going into adulthood. And in her adulthood, she develops telekinesis as one of her. It's just a gift that has been bestowed upon her. This movie doesn't really get into it, but there's definitely in the book a lot of devil not worshipping, but just there's a lot of speculation that she is the daughter of the devil, that her mother maybe had an arrangement with the devil, several different things. But not this movie, and I like that about it, is that it doesn't get into that. It's just kind of implied, just because when you do meet her mother and how crazy religious she is, and she goes on about how she's from evil and all of this kind of stuff, you definitely are painted a picture that Carrie's mom has always pretty much been religious, had a husband or a boyfriend or whatever, and she was weak and she slept with him. Just normal, human emotions, which she saw it as weakness because, again, insanely religious. And she got pregnant from that and had a baby, and has forever, every time she looks at Carrie, is guilty and feels guilty for having this child out of sin as she sees it. And she sees Carrie as just a product of sin and that she is sinful and all these things. So she is afraid of that, locks her in closets all the time, has her pray to this really, really creepy Jesus statue of him being crucified. And just all this terrible stuff happens to Carrie because of her mother, really. Because at the end of the day, the point of this movie is that it's not Carrie who is the ultimate villain. I mean, yes, she is, and we'll get into that in a second. But she's more... Is she a monster? Probably yes. But it's one of those circumstances things. Like, she does a lot of bad because a lot of bad was done unto her. And it's almost like it's kind of like a Clockwork Orange in a weird sort of way. Like, she is a victim, but then Clockwork Orange, that's opposite. But anyway, on to Carrie. She is a victim of these horrible, horrific things, and this is kind of what happens as a result. So now we have it. She's just been ridiculed by the entire gym class, basically, about how she needs to plug it up and all this grossness. And Carrie has this neighbor, Sue, who is only one of the only ones really looking out for Carrie. They are, of course, they get in trouble for what they've done to her, and she, I think, even before that, decides that that was a really crappy thing we did to her. I'm gonna try and make it up to her. So she talks to her boyfriend, Tommy Ross, and pretty much twists his hand into taking Carrie to the prom that was coming up. And he eventually agrees and goes to ask her, and then he again kind of twists Carrie's arm into doing it, even though Carrie definitely did not. She knew she couldn't because her mom wouldn't let her, because her mom is ultra religious, doesn't let her do anything. But somehow she goes off, the telekinesis comes out, she shows her mom that she has it, her mom knows that, or accuses her of being Satan, all this stuff. So she goes to the prom. Oh, also the mom, meanwhile, while she's breaking down, telling her that she's, spawn of Satan and all this kind of stuff, she also says, kind of manipulating Carrie, and goes, they're all going to laugh at you. You can just stay here with me. We can pray. Carrie's like, no, I'm going. Like, this is my turn. I'm doing what I want with my life. So Carrie goes to the prom with Tommy Ross, and everything's fine. She's there. She has the good connection with that teacher that has always been looking out for her. Her and Tommy are getting along. There's even a point in there where they kiss, which I don't understand if that was meant to happen or not. I don't really know what Tommy's doing in this, but hey, they kiss, they're getting along, everything's great. Everything, meanwhile, is being rigged, and she eventually wins, is prom queen. They both are prom king and queen together. And so she goes up there, and meanwhile, Chris, the one of the many bullies of the movie, she and her boyfriend, who's played by John Travolta, it's one of his first big films, but they make a plan. They get a big bucket of pig's blood, and they knew that if they rigged it for Carrie to win, she would go right under it, and they would pour this pig's blood on, kind of symbolizing, that she was bleeding all over the place, yada yada, all that gross stuff. Also, it's really cool. She's covered in a bunch of blood. And that happens, and then a bucket falls and knocks out Tommy, kills Tommy. There's speculation on that, but then Carrie just completely loses it and kills the entire prom. Everyone in that gym is gone, to the point that there's water, there's electricity, like everyone dies. You see people have their own special deaths, and she burns the school on fire pretty much and just walks away while the door is just open for her. Then, meanwhile, she goes home. Her mom, still convinced that she is the devil, is got all these candles ready for her, and then is all lovey-dovey, manipulating her as usual, but then gets a knife, stabs her. And some of the best music ever plays at that point. That piano, it's so good. And then with that, Carrie kills her mother and kills herself, lets the house burn, and that's kind of the end of Carrie. So let me know what you think about this. Write down below in the comments. Please like and subscribe. And let me know if you want me to keep continuing to do all of these. So, as always, have a great spooky Saturday, and I will see you all next week.